Oh my goodness. Hola mi gente, ¿cómo estás? How y'all doing and how y'all living? Listen, this video is probably gonna jump ahead of a bunch of footage that I have, but honestly, my mind has been in this alternate universe, which is called reality as of late. So it's Mental Health Monday. Let's get mental. I freaking realized that, oh, so close, science, that I have been elevating a lot in the like last 3-4 months. I was elevating probably a lot, and I don't think that I noticed it because it was masking so much that was going on in my life, y'all. Like, it was helping me honestly make it through some tough situations. So the last 2 weeks I have been without it. Well, maybe not 2 weeks yet. 2 weeks on Thursday. I've been without it for a week, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things that I was trying to avoid, a lot of things that I was trying to mask, a lot of things that I was just having issues with in general. When I initially started elevating, it was to help with, I have tremors and I have a lot of pain, so it was to help with that. And pretty soon it went into my my life because of the things that were going on here. So I started elevating to be able to be around my ex and deal with my ex, and so that was keeping things peaceful. Then there was a point where I was just doing it to be doing it, which is fine. I don't have a problem with any of those things, but I also need to feel my rough and raw emotions at times. And while sometimes, depending on what type of elevation I'm using, it does help to bring that out, my innermost thoughts, I just definitely wanted to sit in reality for a while and not put off things that I am afraid of doing. So that's the reality. There were things I was afraid to do, and keeping me in this place where my mind was altered. I can see you, Wolf. Wolf, I can see you. Was kind of helping me avoid those things. And since just the week, I've gotten a lot done. I've handled a lot of business and I progressed forward a lot more since not elevating. I realized when I got home, and even before, so I was under a tremendous amount of stress. My family from here was calling me all the time with things that were going wrong that like I had to handle from another state, and I was just like losing it. And out there I was elevating a lot because, first of all, like, that's what we do. My family, they are pretty much party people. When, especially when I'm around, they're pretty much like, you know, we just elevate and we drink and we chill, and I don't have a problem with that, you know. And especially at a social level, I don't have a problem with it socially, but when I'm by myself, it's just a couple of hits and move forward. But I realized that it was almost daily at some point in July. And in July I had a lot of things going on here, and I was looking back through, it's not a journal, it's my calendar, but I keep track of me and my ex's interactions on that time. I realized there was a correlation between times I put a lot of pressure on T were times that I was having problems here. And I noticed the dates and the times and the things that were going on, and stress plus anxiety plus OCD plus elevation is not a good combination. So I just realized through looking at messages I sent T, to things that were happening with me, to what was happening here, that there was just a lot going on with me that I was trying to control, but I couldn't. So this was around the time that I had started vlogging again, and it was at its peak. I listened to a recording of it a couple days ago, and it was after the full moon. The full moon, I wrote down a whole bunch of things that I was to be releasing. It was like 2 pages worth of things that I was to be releasing, and it felt strange afterwards. After the full moon, I usually feel so rejuvenated and recharged, but this time I didn't feel that way at all. I felt a lot of anxiety, and the next day I was a bundle of emotions. So I'm on this walk, I'm listening to this recording I had between my ex and I, because if I'm like 100% honest, when things get super elevated here, I record it because I don't know what's gonna happen to me, and I let my children know that there are these recordings on the phone, and please, if something happens, let them know what happened. On this particular day in July, for the recording that I listened to, that he Googled me, and if I bring a motherfucker to this house, somebody's getting hurt, he's looking at me dead in my face, obviously, and he's gonna burn this motherfucker down. So I'm asking him, is he threatening me? And he's like, you just know that if someone shows up at the house, that something's gonna happen. And I'm listening to this. It's 51-minute fucking recording, or 56 minutes, I really don't know. You can't really hear everything unless you like really listen, because I was listening to the game in the background. It was the finals, Bucks versus Phoenix. It was the championship, in fact, because we didn't make it to the next games because Phoenix didn't pull through. Not because of him, it's because of my children. I value my kids enough not to bring just some random person to the house, you know what I mean? You know, but he was harping on it, and it's kind of strange that it would happen because I wasn't doing anything at this point, honestly. I really wasn't, but keep accusing somebody and some shit's gonna pop off, okay? But anyways, for the next 2 days I had recordings of things that were going on between us, and it just really amped up my anxiety, amped up my OCD, amped up everything. He had done things to me, you know, prior to all this happening, so I was already in an anxious state, and but I just kind of left it at that, you know. For me, sorry if I get emotional, keeping the peace is always the ultimate goal, but during these times I didn't feel like that, and I had got to a point, and I recently re-entered that same space energy wise. Was like, whatever the fuck is gonna happen is just gonna happen. If you're gonna do something to me, you're just gonna do it. But one, I'm not going to back down, and two, this time I am not going to protect you. I'm going to call the police, you know what I mean? So I was just letting him know those things off the rip. Like, if you decide that you're going to do anything, then just let it be known things are going to happen. So he kept telling me how he's a black man and what they do to black men, and please, as an advocate for black men, don't tell me. I advocate for mental health and I advocate for black men. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna sit up here as the person who's harming a black woman and tell me to protect you? Okay, it makes a lot of sense, I guess. Like, yeah, mathematically the equation is adding up. In my head, it's yeah, of course. I don't know. It takes me to this place because recently a friend of mine had started reaching out to me, and she is in a very dark space, and she wanted me to come get her from another part of Texas. And I sat here, I talked to my daughter about how I feel like I really need to do this, and she was like, I don't understand. We hadn't talked to her in a while. Back in 2009, 2010, she had stayed with us for a couple of weeks. She didn't have anywhere to go. I had just met her. I didn't really know her that well, but we had classes together. So she was a lot younger than me. I believe right now she's in her early 30s and I'm in my early 40s, so we have a 10-year gap. But we had classes together, and honestly, chemistry wise, we worked well together, and we kept our grade point averages, or like the ones to go for. So she ended up telling me what was going on with her, and I just told her, like, hey, come stay with me, don't worry about it, because that's how I am. Like, don't even trip, you know. I don't have an extra bedroom, I don't have an extra bed, but you're more than welcome to crash on my couch. And she did for two weeks. When she started reaching out to me again, I realized that, because Kimana was like, she keeps bringing up when she stayed with us and stuff like that, and I realized a lot of people who reach out to me, I was their last safe space. So they come to me and they were like, hey, you remember when I was going through this? And there's people from elementary school that did the very same thing earlier this year, and I was the last safe space that they remembered. It's kind of weird because I was never in a safe space to offer these safe spaces. I was actually always in places where I did not feel safe, in parts of my life where I never felt safe, but I always offered safety to everyone around me. And oftentimes it was surrounding the same thing that I would be going through, abuse. So, but it's kind of like cool to know that people remember you as a safe space. I worry about her a lot. I worry about her safety a lot. I worry about her kids a lot. I just worry in general because I love her. And I always want her to feel that she does have that safe space within me, because I know her family life. I want to get into a better position to be able to take her in whenever she needs it, if she needs it, you know. But Kimana's like, people from all over at different times in your life reach, you know, out to you all the time with these memories that are like decades and decades old. And I'm like, if you were ever in a place of danger and you look back and you recall in your mind your safe space, you would want to reach out and grab it too, no matter if the person remembered you or not, you know. If there is a point in your life like where you want to reach back to safety, you definitely would go and look for the last place you felt loved, you felt cared for. So for me, it's my grandparents. It's like the very last place that I ever felt safe, unharmed, and like no one could get to me. Like I was in this enchanted bubble where no one could reach me, was within my grandparents' house. The equivalent to my grandparents' house for other people. I remember my therapist telling me earlier this year, she was like, you have the qualities of a therapist. Everything about you exudes therapy, and it's your calling, and I think you're avoiding it. I always wanted to go into therapy. I took so many psychology courses, and I damn near had the degree, and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't pull the trigger, which now I'm going to pursue. Because honestly, between sex and therapy are the two things that I'm just super passionate about, honestly. And I was trying to recall like my aggression and things during sex, and I'm really hoping it's not tied to any trauma, because I really feel like I enjoy it, but I'm like, is it something like in my brain that's like, okay, it was before my sexual abuse, but I do feel like after my sexual abuse it got a little more aggressive. So I don't know. I try to like think in my mind like, Was there, I don't know how to explain it, it'll sound weird, and I know only people that have gone through sexual abuse will understand something like this. And like months after that, T had said the same thing about like me and being like a good therapist and stuff like that. And I was like, sometimes I don't listen to signs from the universe, because several people have told me that, but I guess I just paid attention this year. The thing about me is I want to be able to share myself with y'all. I want to be able to share who I am, but then I'm wondering how much of myself I should be sharing, you know? But I want to do 100%. I want to say 100%. I took steps to try to clear my mind and make sure that I'm available to people in my right mind and that I'm okay. And besides all that, I don't want to keep hiding from my reality, and I don't want to keep distorting my reality, making me feel like I'm okay when I'm not okay, and making me feel like things are fine when they're not fine, because they're just hidden underneath this edible or whatever it is at this time, you know what I mean? So I don't want to hide anymore from my reality. A lot of it is just facing my fears, and I definitely have a lot of problems with facing my fears. So I'm here right now trying to do just that. After my first place fell through and I wasn't able to get it, I left it alone. But now I took the steps to looking into other places and applying for things, because I can't be afraid. What am I afraid of? Maybe it's like the financial aspect of it. You know, I've always been made to feel like I ain't got it, but you know what I mean? Or I'm nothing without that other person, or you know what I mean? Well, maybe you don't know, but that's how it was for me. So I don't know. I'm just trying to come to terms with things and come out of this shell that I've been hiding underneath, and fight my way out if I have to, no matter what. And it's scary to think about how dark things can get, but swallowing of the emotions. But I feel like I can make it through, and I'm gonna make it. I question it, I'm not gonna lie. I do question these things. But nobody can save me but myself. And that's been the problem, is that I think I've just been scared. I've just been fearful of what happens after. I feel like I would have to have a protective order because of the fear of what happens after. And I think I sat here and stewed on the divorce process and why I felt like I needed to do this first before I left was my mom was like, you know, your address is going to be on the paperwork, and if you look at my paperwork, the address, they do ask you for your address, and I don't know what the papers look like that he gets served, but I'm guessing it looks just like what I have. And so I don't know, I just gotta grow a pair. I just gotta do what I need to do and not be afraid. It's just hard to be me sometimes. It's hard to wear all the hats for all the people, and then you need someone to wear that hat for you. Like, you need somebody to come through for you. People can look at you and see safety and see love and see all those things, but when you look around, you kind of feel like, I don't know. Now, part of that is on me because I am closed off. Today, also, I checked in on my friend. Well, his name is Tyrell. He let me know not to call him by his last name anymore. But I've always called him by his last name. That's how he was introduced to me through my ex, was through his last name. So I've always called him by his last name, and then today he let me know, like, no sis. But I felt compelled to check on him because When we were last together, he was talking about his mental health issues and his PTSD. He had been to Afghanistan a couple of times, and I feel like as a corpsman, you see a lot when you are traveling with the Marines that you would not see when you are on those hospital ships. Those hospital ships are totally different. I know he probably had to see a lot and do a lot of things that he probably didn't want to do. Much like anybody that serves, you're just called to a duty and you have to perform and do that job, and you kind of have to look at it as if you're an accountant or anything else, because one second of thinking something through could cost you your life. So you kind of just got to go through and do what you do. And I commend each and every one of you guys. Seriously, I have a lot of respect for our armed forces, because it just cannot be easy to be y'all. And it can't be easy to be y'all after putting on these uniforms and then coming back into the real world, or not even, I won't say the real world, but coming back into your life, and it's different. You don't have to look over your shoulder, but somehow you feel like you do. And so I was worried about him because I don't feel like he talks a lot. It was random when he brought it up to me. We were talking football, blah blah blah, and then I just asked him how he was doing, and then he was talking about school, he was talking about this, he was talking about that, and then he brought that up. And you know, I want to always keep in mind that he might be struggling with PTSD at any given time, at any given day, all day, who knows. But I just periodically want to make sure that I check in on him. So today was that day. And he said he was fine. I was like, define. No, he said I'm okay or something. I'm like, define it. And then he said I'm fine. And I was like, all right, asshole, whatever. And he was like, no, but thank you for checking in on me, because I'm not gonna forget, because everyone knows I worked at in the mental health unit at the hospital. So when I hear stuff like that, it's near and dear to my heart. I will never ever 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 forget my time there, because swallow it. Fuck. I take great pride in being people's inner peace and being there for them and all that good stuff. And it's just hard for me to do the same, like allow somebody to be my safe space, because it feels ultra vulnerable and scary and like so I don't know. I want to be able to do it. I want to be able to just call on somebody and let them be my safe space and not think twice about it. I just really want to know, how does that feel to not feel scared, to open your whole body, emotionally be naked and raw with somebody, like raw. And it's weird that I have these long friendships and I still hide parts of myself. Things that you guys have seen, they don't even know about. I don't even publicize this. Like, this platform is for whoever organically finds it. It's not for me to be like, it looks weird, but that's a little thing to pull the light on and off or whatever. Whoever organically finds it. But as far as sharing it with people in my life, I don't typically do that. I typically just keep it to myself, because this is my online diary and it sees the craziest of parts of me, the wildest of parts of me, my innermost thoughts. It sees like my very vulnerable parts of me. Like, it just sees things that people don't typically see. So I don't know. I do feel calm, I do feel zen, but I do also, on the flip side of that, like, cut me in half. One side is like completely zen and fine, the other part is like completely like anxious and running amok mentally, like all over the place, you know? It's super strange. But like I was saying, when I was going on these walks in the morning after the full moon and the release, and I set these things ablaze, and I was like, I'm gonna release fear, I'm gonna release one-sided relationships, I'm gonna release abuse, I'm gonna release, I don't know where they are. Oh, duh, they're on fire. Please don't mind me, please, please. No, I took a picture of it. That's why I was saying I don't know where they are, but I took a picture of it, and it's in my phone. But there was just a long laundry list of things that I released in this fire, and I was like, I thought I was gonna feel like, and I didn't. I felt anxious. I felt like, oh my gosh, but I feel like that was like that shake-up, like, oh, you're getting uncomfortable, and this is right where you need to be, uncomfortable. This is right in the space where you need to be, where you're up at nights worrying. This is, and it sounds bad, it sounds fucked up, but no, it's 100, 1000, 1,000,000% true. I need to be uncomfortable. This is where the shake-up happens. This is where the shit happens. So I need to feel this uncomfortable feeling. But I was anxious. So every day I'm walking after this, and I'm like pouring down tears as I'm walking. Like, I can't even see. It's like the hardest rain, and your windshield wipers don't work, and I'm just pouring down tears and walking, but it's feeling good. Like, it feels like weights are lifting, but I'm just crying and crying daily. And today's Sunday, by the way, the 24th. But I'm just going through it and crying and like an emotional wreck. And then finally, like, today was the first time I didn't cry. But I can't run from reality forever. I have to face my demons at some point, and what time is better than the present? So before I left, I wasn't smoking or anything. I wasn't doing any of that stuff before I left. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be going to California, and like, that's what I do there. And nobody's like, you need to, you have to. It's just what I do there, you know what I mean? So I do have hookah, which is another way I could feel like I'm partaking in something. But for the most part, I haven't smoked anything since I've been back home. I haven't done CBD or anything. But like I said, I bought the grinder just in case there's ever a day that I feel like, okay, I need to have something. Like today probably would have been a good day, because I have like stuff up there I showed you guys, like the smokable herbs and other things that can replace elevation, and so I have alternatives. But it's just best for me to just try not to rely on anything at this point, you know? But anyways, you guys, I'm sorry this Mental Health Monday was all over the place, but technically that's where my mind is, all over the place, like all over the place. I'm trying to save people around me, make sure everyone's good, and like still try to make sure I'm good. And so I pulled cards today on Metero, and it told me like financially I'm gonna be straight, and I'm gonna be moving, and all the things that I've been worrying about and stressing about have come out. I did a love pool, and it told me like, you're not ready, but love is coming your way. And I was just like, it's saying that I'm scared basically, and I am, because first of all, I don't know what it is, and so like that's an issue, to not know what love is. How do you know when you found it? You know what I mean? So I was kind of just hoping that it would say like, take time to love yourself, and one of them did. But it also said like, you are worried about something that you left behind, you're letting go of something, but you're not sure if that's what you should be doing. And ultimately, yes, that is what I should be doing, because even if it's hard, it has to be done, because it doesn't serve any purpose in my life. And I'm not referring to the ex in this house, but even if it's hard, it has to be done, because I have to release things that don't serve me. And no matter how good something might feel in the moment, I can tell when it's not serving me. So I have to release a lot, and it's gonna be hard because it's essentially wiping the slate clean of fucking everything. Because there's literally nothing that I could be holding on to at this point other than myself. But emotionally check in, you guys. I hope you're doing far better than me. I'm just coming to terms and to grips with things that are going on in my life that I've been hiding from friends, family, social media, everything. And it's hard to pill to swallow, but at the same time, it just is something that has to be, this is a part of the journey. And if I don't put this part of the journey in, then I am lying about the journey. I'm hiding, I'm omitting, and I don't want to hide and omit anymore. So I gotta do what I gotta do, you know. I also have to talk to R, and we're gonna have a discussion. And then, like, I have things that I have to deal with. I have things to deal with. Like, things, I don't know. I feel good and terrified at the same time. I guess it's like a good place to be in, like scared, naked, and afraid. Yeah, so I'm emotionally naked. How do I look? How do I look? Do I look okay? Should I cover up some spots? Like, what do you guys think? But yeah, I am emotionally, like, I feel strong, but I feel weak. I feel good, but I feel bad. I feel up, but I feel down. Like, I feel all the things right now just because I feel like I'm feeding off of other emotions, feeding off my own emotions, feeling unrested because I just don't feel like this is my home anymore. And at first, I was just like, it makes more sense with me and the kids that we stay here, but I just feel like there's such a negative aura around the house that I don't think I would be able to stay here. I don't know if removing him from the situation would change that. I feel like that would just, I don't think it would do anything. I think this is like the poltergeist house of emotions. Okay, of negative emotions. It's like that, you know. So that's how I feel. Ouch! I scratched my back yesterday. Oh my god. But let me end this because it's like 50 minutes and I really don't fucking know if I'm editing it, to be honest with you guys. I really don't fucking know. But I love you with all of my heart. I missed part of the basketball game for you guys. It is 14:52 and I think it was the Knicks that were playing today. So it's ours team. So I wanted to see how they're doing. So that's how much I love you guys. Parting words is this, other than I love Jew and Jew in the back, is don't ever let anyone determine your self-worth. Don't ever let anyone assign you your self-worth. Because why? It's your self-worth. Only you can determine it. And I said it in another video. But on top of that, don't ever let anyone put their hands on you. And don't ever let them manipulate you into protecting them. Because if a black man can put his hands on a black woman, why would I protect him? Okay? It doesn't make sense. Okay? So I don't care who it is. Don't let anybody put their hands on you. Ever. In their entire lifetime. Let the first time be the last time. Okay? Love you. Oh my god, it didn't end. But yeah, another thing. Don't let history dictate not a motherfucking thing. Just because you have been with somebody X amount of years doesn't mean that they can't become your ex if they're treating you bad. Okay? Like y'all.
Did you get ready in the dark or something? 'Cause you look like a beautiful nightmare.